So guess what? Guess what this week is? This week is the onboarding post-booking workflow, the ones that your clients are absolutely going to love. Now, this is where we are going to transform that excitement from the booking into a seamless, super professional process that's really going to reassure your clients that they've made the right choice. It is so important from the minute they book to keep holding their hand and keep making them feel wanted and make sure they know they made the right choice. I'm Andreka from Andreka Photography and Coaching, here again this week to talk about all things business, because when it comes down to it, running a photography business is not just about taking pretty photos. And if you're going to stay in this business and love it, like I have for the last 20 years, you're going to have to embrace business. And in fact, it can be really fun, and it can help you not burn out and actually be more creative. Today, we're going to talk about the onboarding process. And you might think, well, they already booked. Why do I have to put in all this extra effort? But this first step is absolutely crucial. It is going to build trust. We're going to talk about more about why this is important. And here's the thing, this is why building trust is so important. It is not only good for them, it's really good for you, because the sooner you can build trust with your client, the more they're going to release the reins, let you do your job, which is going to make you do the best and be the best photographer you can be. So in this little chat, we're going to talk about why onboarding workflows are so critical and creating that lasting impression is so important, the practical steps to set up that smooth system using tools like Dubsado, which I talked a little bit about last week, and how to avoid those common mistakes to elevate your client experience. Also, as always, I want to give you those little extra tips of how to do it and extra tools. So we're also going to talk about the best practices. By the end of the session, you're going to have super actionable strategies to kind of help create that client experience that's going to feel easy, personalized, and totally unforgettable, because you want to be unforgettable as a photographer. You want them, when they're standing with their friends out chatting their other friends who hired different photographers, you want them to be like, no, but my photographer did this. And these workflows and these client experiences are really what's going to make you stand out in a crowd, so that your clients can be the best advertising and marketing that you can get. So first, let's talk about why. Why is this onboarding workflow even matter, right? Number one, we talked a little bit about this. It's going to build immediate trust and confidence. Clients really need to have that reassurance that they've made that right choice, and a polished workflow sets that professional tone. It also sets boundaries, which is really, really important to remember. One way you can do this, send a friendly automated welcome email immediately after booking. People are going to book. They don't want to feel forgotten right away. Use software, again, like Dubsado. We talked a lot last week about automated emails. You can use Dubsado. You can keep templates there. Do it yourself. Set reminders in your calendar, whatever works for you. Again, I'm a fan of the way Dubsado works. It also reduces miscommunication and confusion. This is huge. So clear communication helps prevent mistakes and builds that trust between you and your client again. When you have clear communication set out and place that you have it all stored, when things get confusing, potentially, you said this, they said this, you have your system in place to go back and look and see. Include a timeline and checklist of what's going to happen next in the onboarding process. Here's what things will look like. I will reach out to you a month before the wedding. I will send you a questionnaire. Give them this roadmap of what's to happen along the way. And if you don't have a workflow, it means you don't even have your own roadmap. Think of the workflow as your roadmap, right? Also, really a cool thing to do is create a FAQ section for common questions and share early in the process, because the earlier you share, the sooner they build the trust, the sooner they feel like, oh gosh, I have all these questions. You've already answered them, which makes you also look brilliant. It's going to improve client satisfaction. We talked a little bit about this already earlier. It's going to make people happy. If you have this smooth process, it's going to make clients feel valued, and it's going to make them have this positive review and positive feeling towards you when they go to refer you to hopefully all their favorite people in the world. You want to make sure you provide constant updates about what they can expect. Don't let people feel lost in the woods, not knowing what they're doing, because weddings are a big deal. And you don't want people to feel weddings. And in general, portraits are really important to have as well, because when it comes down to it, photography is not cheap. Photography is an investment. And not only is it an investment, it's also something that can make people feel really uncomfortable because people are like, I don't like to be in front of the camera. I can't believe I'm paying money to do something I don't like. These workflows help you shift people's mindsets away from that. It's having that repeatable process. It's going to save you time. It's going to ensure consistency, and it's going to make you look good, and it's going to make you less stressed because you're going to know what to do. When you have a million things going on when you're running your business and you have a solid workflow, you don't have to think about it. It's already in place. The more workflows you have in your business, the better. Think about every single process you have in your business and try to put it into a workflow so that you know where you are and you can keep track of where you are along the way. And finally, another last reason it's really important, it's going to set you apart from competitors, right? A professional and seamless onboarding process gives you that competitive edge. You would not believe how many times I have clients say to me, oh my gosh, you're the first one who's responded and you're the only one that's getting back to me. And I really appreciate your time. Even if it's just, hey, I hear you, I'm going to sleep, I'll contact you in 24 hours. People just want to be heard. So a good thing to do also is to highlight this onboarding process during your consultations. This will help impress the potential clients as well, because if they're talking to other people who, one, aren't responding back right away because they don't have the workflow we talked about last week, the guiding you in that first initial inquiry one, you want to make sure when you're talking, you say, okay, so this is what's going to happen. Once you book, you'll do A, B, C, and D. They also can start to mentally imagine themselves going through this, which again, makes them feel at ease, makes them feel confident, makes them let go of their reins and let you do your thing, right? You want to make sure you mention that you use different client portals and other tools during the sales calls so you can show that added value. Clients want to feel like they're more than just a number. They want that personalized touch, especially when it comes to photography. So reference personal details about their event, about things they've shared. So when I do my initial questionnaire, I actually ask, what's your favorite TV show? Or what are you binge watching? Because it gives me that something to connect with, you know? I think we talked about this again last week, but when you have that little extra, you can reference it because not everyone's going to have that, and it makes it feel personalized, right? So next mistake people make is the lack of follow through. The lack of follow through after booking. People have just booked. They've just made an investment. They feel good. And then there's nothing. And there's ghosted silence. Can you imagine how awful that feeling is? So when you respond immediately after booking, they can go, whew, and not just immediately after booking. You want to make sure you keep that communication open at least for a week after the booking. Hey, did you get this? Are we good? Are we set? Ask them if they need anything. And once they know they don't, then you can kind of say, okay, I'll be in touch in a month, 2 months, 6 months. You never want your clients to feel neglected if communication is inconsistent, right? Set those reminders, regular check-ins if they need it, if you need it. It's really important to not neglect your client, especially once they just book. It can feel really yucky. Also, another mistake that people tend to make, skipping the opportunity to clarify expectations. This is what we talked a little bit about, boundaries. You use these workflows as a chance to set boundaries, and you want to do that early on, right? Misaligned expectations can really lead to disappointment, which is the last thing you want from a client. So when you're doing these workflows and the onboarding, if someone books you, they might think, oh, I've got her on speed dial for the next 6 months. Nah, you want to set out early, like, hey, I'm going to be in touch in a month. We're going to talk about A, B, C, and D. So then they know, okay, I don't have to, because oftentimes a couple will think, I need to come up with the photo shot list. I need to do that tomorrow. And so they're frantically messaging you when you personally know, because you've been to several weddings, that you don't need that shot list yet. So if you already ahead of time say, I'm going to be in touch a month before the wedding and we're going to finalize all these certain things you need, they can breathe, they can step away, and you've also set these expectations. Open the door for open communication, for setting expectations of what people want and what people expect, right? Include a what to expect guide in your onboarding materials, right? It's so smart. Again, you just want people to feel at ease, right? Manual tasks are going to increase the risk of mistakes and waste your time. Every time you manually write something, what if you write the wrong couple's name? What if you write the wrong venue? What if you have the wrong timeline in place? If you have things automated, it's going to make things easier, but also more accurate, And the more accurate you are, again, the trust. If you all of a sudden send a couple something that's a completely different wedding, it's going to make them lose trust instantly and feel very uncomfortable. Now, 3, let's talk about how to get started with these onboarding workflows. First, kind of what we talked about last week. And I'm not going to lie, I actually did this 2 days ago because I'm in the process of doing a different workflow for my business right now. And I literally took my own advice. So you want to, 1, map out your ideal client's journey, right? You want to see where your client needs to go, right? Knowing your client's needs helps you design that workflow that it feels seamless and professional, right? Write down each step your clients will go through from booking all the way through to the day of the event. Use a visual flow chart like Trello, or you can create your own whatever sheets. There's a million different ways to do this. Who knows? If you like pencil and paper, do it that way as well. Just as long as you have a visual idea of where your client is going to go on their map of journey in their workflow, and then you can go in and piecemeal it into the right places. So you want to choose the right tools, right? The right tools to streamline this process. The right software saves time, it reduces errors, and ensures a professional experience. Again, I used Dubsado. There's other ways of managing contracts and emails. A shoot queue is another great one I really, really like. Honeybook, 17 Hats. Find which one works for you. I like Dubsado. Take advantage of their free trial. And I actually also have a discount code if you need it. And then you want to create templates, right, for those common communication. Templates for the emails, templates for the questionnaires, templates for your proposals. And that way it'll save time while maintaining that consistency and professionalism, because you're going to be asking the same questions, so that each client's going to have, you're going to have the same information for each client, and it's going to be worded the same, so that, again, it's not just about the client at this point. It's about you being able to control your business, because we're wearing a million different hats at the same time, trying to balance everything. And what we really want to focus on, making the client happy and taking beautiful, gorgeous, fun photos, right? And then start simple. Start super simple and build it over time. Jumping into a super complex system can really lead to overwhelm and mistakes. This is something we have a tendency to. I totally do. I have a tendency of wanting to get something done, so I make a list and I make out that client journey idea. And all of a sudden I've got this and I've got this and I've got this and I've got this, and I'm like, okay, wait, stop. Pull back. What can I do today? What tiny little part of this, how do I simplify my journey, the client's journey, into 3 steps, 4 steps? Simple. And then add on later. What I highly suggest, my simple, basic booking workflow. Thank you for booking. Here's what you can expect with a little timeline. I'll be sending you a questionnaire. Please share images with me. Here's our timeline for what things are going to look. A month before, I'll send a questionnaire, ask for your timeline, and then we can talk a lot more once that time says. In the meantime, if you need me, reach out. So it really comes down to letting them know as soon as they book what things are going to look like. That is really the most important aspect of this workflow. Right? Payment reminders, questionnaires, reminders for the questionnaires, reminders for, like, reach out to the vendors, gather vendor information so you can share photos later. These are all little other things, but ultimately bare bones. Thank you for booking. Here's what you could expect. I'll be in touch a month, 6 weeks, 2 months, whatever feels comfortable for you before the wedding. Then you can figure out from there what you need. And they have now opened up and been like, okay, so we can take a breath and move on to other things in our wedding planning. All right, number 4, how to personalize that standout client experience. We talked about the personalization. So I've got a whole section on this because it's so important. Again, to make people not feel like a number, but then at the same time saving you time. 1, tailor your welcome email to each client. Personalize your communication, makes clients feel super valued and reassures them that they're in good hands. That first email coming out after booking is going to be so important, right? This is the one that's going to go, okay, the couple can go, I did it, I made the right decision, and they can let it go, versus nothing getting back and being like, oh my gosh, what did we do? And then you're going to have to be pulling teeth the whole time to get things done that you want to get done because they're nervous about you. Customize those questionnaires for each client's needs, right? Collecting the relevant information ensures that you can meet their expectations. and deliver that exactly what they want. One question I always ask on my questionnaire right before the wedding is family dynamics. It's so important to understand. And this way the client also feels being heard too, because they want to share, but they're nervous to bring it up. This is you opening the door for them to share things that they're nervous about family and guest dynamic, and that you can then, in a way, take the burden off their shoulders. Offer tailored timelines and schedules. You are the expert. This helps you in your job get your job done, and it helps them because they don't really know what they're doing and they think they have to. If you take that ease off them, especially because you've already gained trust at the beginning, that they trust you now with the timeline, this is going to be very important, right? Using that personalized timeline is going to demonstrate that you're an expert, and it's going to help the clients feel super prepared for their day. And the day of, since you made that schedule, they're going to be able to relinquish their reins and let you do your thing even more so. When you need to control a group, they're going to trust you to do it. They're probably going to stand up for you if there's other people in the room that are like, I'll do this. They're going to be like, nope, our photog's got it. Another neat thing to do is highlight client-specific details throughout the process, right? Remembering personal details like their favorite flower, special requests, certain memorable items that they're going to have at the wedding. This creates that memorable client experience that they're going to also think, wow, our person really cares about us, right? Add notes to the client profile in your Dubsado so you can reference it back later. And then you want to bring in these details when you do the check-ins, so you've been paying attention, right? So let's say you're checking in, you're saying, hey, how is your, let's say in their inquiry they mentioned that they had a baby a year ago and the baby's going to be hopefully walking at the time of the wedding, right? So when you reach out, say, hey, how is Joey learning to walk? Do you think he's going to be able to be down the aisle? This is going to make them feel so good, and that's really what you want to do. And then finally, we're going to talk about the tools and templates for success in building this onboarding workflow. One, as we've talked about, automate your workflows. Use a software program like Dubsado or all the other CRMs out there. Automation is going to save you so much time and ensures that nothing's going to slip through the cracks because you're going to have built-in reminders telling you what to do. And the more you start booking clients, people often think, oh, my business isn't big enough. I only have 3 clients or only have 4 weddings. Oh, my business isn't big enough for me to get a CRM like Dubsado or ShootQ or whatever. Do it now because you want to build it before you're too big. Once you're already in it and you've got tons of clients, it's much harder to backpedal and figure everything out. It's easier to start when you only have 1 or 2 and test the waters. Right? You want to centralize your communication through these client portals, right? Keeping everything in one place makes it super easy for you to and your clients to stay organized. There's a lot of ways to keep all your communication centralized, or it's as simple as keeping a folder on your email for your client and where they all go on your email list, right? Create separate folders for your clients so you see them all. Use templates for that consistent communication. These templates are going to ensure that your emails and your documents are super professional, they're clear, they're aligned with your brand, you're using the same color, you're using the same fonts, and you don't have to go and obviously redesign them every single time, right? Automate payment schedules and reminders. Again, one less thing you have to think about. Ensures that timely payments are taken care of and that you don't have to chase clients down when you're doing it. You can do these by setting those automatic invoice reminders in Dubsado, but also QuickBooks. I mean, your online gallery, it's so many places are now doing invoices. Organize and categorize communication for easy access, right? Helps you quickly find relevant emails, notes, even months later. This is, again, I can tell you that before I was using Dubsado, I was using a program called ShootQ, which I still use. I can literally find emails, proposals, invoices for clients that I photographed 17 years ago, like this, because it's all been organized, because I had a workflow in place. I can find it all as I need it, right? Create categories like pending contracts, booking invoices, booking, pending, booking, inquiry, so you know where everyone is along the way. Thank you for taking a listen. Again, I'm Andreka from Andreka Photography and Coaching, and I hope that you learned a ton about the importance of the solid onboarding workflow and the practical steps to implement them in your business. Onboarding workflow sets the tone for trust and professionalism, which is so important. Using templates and softwares, programs are going to save time while keeping those communications super clear and organized. And that personalization is totally key to creating a client experience that they're going to rave about and make you sound amazing to all their friends, so that their friends will all going to come hire you as well. Have a great day, and I hope that this was super helpful, and I'll see you all guys later. Thanks, friends.